Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining Sandra P's Gen Extra for a quick live on a topic that I covered on one of my multiple topic. Oops, sorry. One of my multiple topic lives that I did. I think it was Mondays. Whatever day was my first live after the NFL draft, after the shenanigans where they were playing with our nephew. Okay. So thank you, everybody. Welcome to Sandra P's Gen Extra. This is an impromptu live, even though I scheduled it for 12:45 because I'm practicing on how to do scheduling. I actually have one at 3 that's going to be multiple topics. But this quick live today is going to be on the NFL draft. I'm doing an update to the Shedeur Sanders prank call that happened. So Sports Illustrated put out the information, and I'm just going to read this quick update. Okay, it says that the NFL hands out multiple fines for the prank call on Browns quarterback Shedeur Sanders. And they're minimizing this already. So I'm going to give my commentary after I read this. Everybody, thank you so much for joining. Just click the like button. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. And today I'm in my Tamar t-shirt. This is when he possessed the power of the glow. So I'm going to give Shedeur Sanders the power of the glow, which his daddy already gave him. His mom, his whole family, his sibling relationships, and the internet aunties lifting him up, okay? So Shedeur's got the power of the glow. Hopefully he's resting, and then he'll get geared up to start working hard again, like he did at Colorado and Jackson State, okay? So this article from Sports Illustrated, it says, before being selected in the Cleveland Browns in the 5th round, Shedeur Sanders received an unfortunate prank call that garnered punishment for the NFL. He had a wild draft weekend as he tumbled through the first 2 days, only to be finally selected by Cleveland in the 5th round. Disappointing as it was to fall into day 3, the most unfortunate moment at the experience came when the Colorado product received a prank phone call with someone impersonating New Orleans Saints GM Mickey Loomis, promising to draft Sanders in the 2nd round. Several picks later, when the Saints actually took Louisville's Tyler Shaw, it became clear something fishy had transpired. We could tell on the call. If you go back and watch the prank call, if you choose to, because I don't like those 2 grown men getting the attention that they got. Ignorant and jelly. Jelly. As it turned out, Jack's Ulbrich's son, adult son. I'm going to editorialize, y'all. I'll read the article, and then I'm going to editorialize while I'm reading it, okay? I'm just going to do that. As it turned out, Jack's Ulbrich, adult son of Atlanta Falcons defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich, is the one who initiated the prank after apparently discovering Sanders' number on an iPad left out by his father. So an unsecured company device was left out with private client information, and the adult son accessed it and then used it to call not just Shedeur, but multiple people that were involved in that draft. So more than just one young man, one young hopeful, one young potential draftee got a call from these 2 adult idiots, okay? In the aftermath of the incident, Sanders has accepted an apology call from Jack Ulbrich and downplayed the situation. This, y'all, if you watch these kids grow up, when Deion shared his family on that reality show, that tracks. That is classy group, classy young men, classy family, because he should have been cussed out. But I'm going to read it again. In the aftermath of the incident, Sanders has accepted an apology call from Jack Ulbrich and downplayed the situation. Now, they wanted to meet him in person. Did y'all hear about that? Yeah, call me just like you did the prank call. You're not meeting me in person. You don't get to meet all this fabulousness. I'll give you that, Shedeur. At least you didn't meet the asshole. Excuse me. At least you didn't meet them in person, okay? Now the NFL has also handed out a pair of punishments to both the Falcons and Jeff Ulbrich. This is the adult son's daddy, y'all. So he put his father's job at risk, and I hope he still gets fired. That's a fireable offense. And if you don't believe me, you take a company computer home, leave it out unsecured, and let an adult family member call some clients on that, and then publicize it and see if they don't fire you, okay? So in the aftermath of the incident, Sanders accepted an apology call from Jack Ulbrich, downplayed the situation. Now the NFL has also handed out a pair of punishments to both the Falcons and Jeff Ulbrich. Multiple reports indicate that Atlanta is being fined $250,000 for Ulbrich's oversight. Ulbrich himself was also fined $100,000 $100,000 for failing to prevent the disclosure of confidential information from the NFL draft. Those are steep fines, y'all. I wanted that man's job, but those are steep fines. $250,000 to the team, the Atlanta Falcons, where Deion played for years and brought a lot of shine to your country city, okay? And I don't care. Yeah, Atlanta going to catch strays too, because you dusty celebrities, you thirsty people, don't show up to the Atlanta Falcons game until they give you this man's job, okay? Multiple reports indicate Atlanta's being fined $250,000 for Ulbricht's oversight. Ulbricht himself was also fined $100,000 for failing to prevent the disclosure of confidential information from the NFL draft. Sanders also showed plenty of grace in reflecting on the situation via a conference call with the media on Saturday, noting that he ultimately wasn't bothered by it. Y'all believe that? If he says he wasn't bothered by it, Shedeur, I hope you really, truly were not bothered by it. But that was disgusting. It was a disgusting display of jealousy and recklessness and criminal activity, okay? And it wasn't cute. It wasn't boys being boys. These were two grown men, okay? Shedeur's in his early 20s. This man's son is in his early 20s as well. He's an adult. So I'm going to read that again, what they say about Shedeur. Sanders showed plenty of grace in reflecting on the situation via a conference call with the media on Saturday, noting that he ultimately wasn't bothered by it. It didn't really have no impact on me because it was just like, okay, I don't feed into negativity. I don't feed into that stuff. The Browns rookie said, this is what it is. I think, of course, it's childish. Of course, I feel like it was a childish act, but everybody do childish things here and there. So he gives more grace than the adults and media people covering this have given him. I've seen terrible things written about this young man and lies as well, because people that actually know them, Tom Brady is his mentor, okay? People that actually know Shedeur Sanders and Shiloh Sanders and all of Deion's children talk about how well-respected they are in any community they live in. When they were in Jackson State, they did a lot for the community, a lot for fellow athletes. Same thing in Colorado. They live in Texas. They are active in the community. They give away a lot. Deion gives a lot of himself to young men that are seeking guidance in sports. I saw one of the episodes, he actually had to take members of the team out, bought them suits. He liked them dressed up, traveling a certain kind of way. And a lot of the things that he does for his own sons, he does for his team. Okay, so that's where Shedeur Sanders gets this from. The flash, the bling, all that, that's who he is. I love that. I love that. And he loves that. And so he should be able to do that without people like this old man, okay, an old child, 20-something years old, making prank phone calls. He should be able to do that if he wants to. And I see nothing wrong with it. That legacy chain is gorgeous. You see that legacy chain? I love that. Okay, then that's one of his businesses that he has. Deion also has his sons and his daughters as well. They have multiple businesses. So he said that was a childish act, but everybody do childish things here and there. Oh, that was the end of the article. Okay, it seemed long because, like I told y'all, I was going to editorialize while I was going through it. Let me read any comments that are up here. And please press the like button. Everything is my opinion other than the article I read. And this is covered by the Copyright Act. Thank you, Cece, for joining me this afternoon. I appreciate that. And I'm going to highlight her comment. Now, the sun. Oh, let me see. I want to highlight the comment, but it's telling me to put this on the stage. Show on stage. There we go. Now the son should have some sort of punishment for theft and using Privacy Act information. He absolutely should, Cece, because imagine it. I mean, if the father were a doctor and he did that same sort of thing, that he'd be a violation of HIPAA laws. The gravity of it, to me, cannot be stressed highly enough. Sure, Shedeur has forgiven him. The person made his apology call. Jax Ulbricht made his apology call. But I think he only apologized because it got such publicity, and it was widespread publicity, and people were disgusted by the action, as we should be. Just because somebody's rich and they're famous and they have a pedigree and a legacy and you don't, there's no reason for you to be jealous of that person and do something that hurt a lot of people. I watched the video of the prank call. There were two young men. The one that actually made the call was the friend, the one that stole the information from the unsecured company device, Jax. He was sitting to the guy's right, and they were laughing and acting stupid, and they impersonated a head coach. They impersonated not a head coach. I forgot what Mickey Loomis's title was, the GM, I believe, of the New Orleans Saints. So they also impersonated someone. And that, to me, the gravity of it is not really being talked about. So we got a $250,000 fine on the Atlanta Falcons, $100,000 personal fine, which a defensive coordinator, NFL defensive coordinator, they're making six figures. So that is a bite into his pocket. But to me, it's not enough. I wish he would have lost his job. I wish he had been fired. But that just allows Shedeur to show how well raised he is and why his father is so respected in the NFL community, even though the haters do not like him. Okay, they don't. And I think a lot of their actions, we found out that the 32 teams were in collusion. They were all banded together and said, take him off the boards and make him wait for their own purposes. But as I said, his mentor, Tom Brady, he went in something like the 5th round. I think I saw a picture of him. It said 199th pick. So Shedeur's pick 144. I think both of those are angel numbers. We'll see what's going to happen. I don't give a care about football anymore. I really don't. I'll watch a halftime show. I'll keep my eye on certain teams. Because I grew up and our home team was Giants. I watched my brother's heart get broken year after year after year. They've always been a terrible team until at the time they had Lawrence Taylor. They had LT. We always loved him. And then when the Giants got Eli Manning, they started winning. They had some Super Bowls in there. So that would be my team. North Carolina is my adopted state. So the Carolina Panthers, I don't root against them. I don't root for them. They have a lot of fair weather fans too. So the Panthers, I don't know what they can do to get their fan base on board, but I'm not really a huge fan. If they win, meh. If they lose, meh. But this was a really interesting story. It was a really interesting story. I like the way the Sanders handled themselves throughout. And I think that was really, it really should teach a lot of people a lesson. CC says Tom Brady went in the 6th round and Kurt Warner was undrafted. He was working at a grocery store when he got the call to come try out. Wow, CC. So there is a precedent for somebody not being first round and still being extremely successful. I think there's more examples of that than the other. I mean, there's a lot of first round draft pick flops. But this story just kind of struck a chord with me because I have nephews that are in their 20s, and I know the emotions that they feel, and they don't show what it is, but he said it didn't bother him. I think it did bother him. If you watch the call, there was one of their little family members. He's about 7 or so, could have been a cousin. They all have very strong features. They look alike. They're good looking. And this little kid, when the phone rang, so this is like a red phone, a very important phone. Of course, the phone's black, but I'm saying red phone like an important phone. The phone rang, so he's in charge of the phone. He brings the phone to Big Cousin, gives the phone to Shedeur, and he's like, hello. And you can see the excitement, but trying to be cool about it, and the little boy. And then when the idiot said what he said, we're going to take you, but you got to wait a little longer. And then you can hear the laughing in the background, and they hung up. And Dion was sitting there, what'd he say? And Shedeur was like, I don't know. And they were like, well, you were on the call, what'd he say? He said, well, he said, I got to wait a little longer. Somebody else heard the entire call and said, he said they'll pick him, but he got to wait a little longer. And then they knew, and they said, oh, man, you just got trolled. And then we see Shiloh jump up and go, nah, they playing games now, man. We're getting ready to crash out. And Shiloh, of course, went undrafted, but he is also NFL bound. He is going to be with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So congratulations to Deion Sanders, who actually has 2 NFL bound sons. And, funnily enough, I'm doing different things that have my channel, bro. I had a short about this story. And I had people that are not subscribe to the channel under the comments, just random people giving I had a lot of positive comments saying congratulations to Dion, congratulations to Shedeur, congratulations to Shiloh, but there were some negative comments as well by the usual suspects, the jealous group, the didn't earn it group that pointed everybody else. So they're under there. They're not going to be in the league in a year. 2 NFL bound sons. Okay. This man has 2, not 1, but those NFL bound sons. And I congratulate Dion on that, the Sanders family. I just want to do this quick live. I'll be back at 3 with my actual topics. And then tonight, I believe it's 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Come back, please, and we will have Dropping Extra Sassy Tea Talk with Sassy TV from the 803, Tea Talk with your girl, and Drop the Tea, also myself. And we will be giving our detailed recap of the latest episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta. and then just giving our off-the-cuff reactions of all things Atlanta Housewives during our show that we'll have tonight. So thank you all for stopping by for my quick impromptu live about the so-called consequences that happen as a result of this criminal call. Stolen company information, unsecured company device. So if you get online and you see these comments of people trying to minimize it, keep reminding them of what actually happened and what it actually is. And there were multiple people called. Shedeur Sanders was just the most high profile one. And the whole thing was disgraceful. But I'm glad that he said that it didn't really matter to him. I'm glad he didn't meet with the little idiot for a personal apology, because the apology is not sincere. The apology is because his father probably begging for his job, and he could still lose his job. I think it just depends on what the city of Atlanta does. Don't let the Falcons get away with this, y'all. Deion spent a lot of years sacrificing his body in that city. So y'all that thirsty to sit up front and have the camera on you for a few minutes, just come on, support right, which is this person no longer having the blessing of this job. Defensive coordinators are out there. It doesn't have to be him. That $100,000, he got it. And now he needs to be on the unemployment line. But thank you for stopping by Sandra P's Gen Extra. And I will see you at 3 p.m. for my Winning Wednesday. Have a great day. Bye.